On today's video, we're going to be checking out the basics of beef production or cattle farming, especially for beginners. Let's go. Now, one might ask, what is beef production or cattle farming? This is one of the most common farming practices in South Africa. The popularity has made a lot of young farmers or agriculturalists have interest in the beef industry. We wanted to make this video to try and simplify or summarize the beef industry and its different sections and types, so that one can be able to choose which path suits their interest and current conditions. One should be mindful that which section one ventures in heavily depends on certain individual factors that will determine your success or failure in the industry. Factors such as land, grazable field, capital, knowledge, and market should be key when deciding which section you want to venture in, so that you can work with what you have. Beef production or cattle farming simply means the production of beef. Now, everything is centered around that. All sections are centered around ensuring we produce the best meat at a cheaper price. We have three main sections of beef production. The first one is cow-calf production or calf producers. This is normally the first part of beef production in South Africa and arguably the most common one. This is usually done extensive, meaning the herd is put into a field and just naturally graze off pastures. The herd will be bred and produce offsprings in the form of calves, and those calves will be our profit. Our money comes from selling the weaned calf to the market at around 6 to 8 months or 200 kgs. We normally say that the calves are ready to be weaned if they are about 60% of their mother's weight. If you venture in calf production, your focus is on taking care of your herd for them to be able to produce you good weaned calves to be able to sell annually to make profit. If you venture in this cow-calf production, your focus is on taking care of your herd for them to be able to produce you good weight calves to be able to sell them annually and make profit. The biggest advantage of this is it requires less capital to run, as the animals naturally graze the fields, but it requires a lot of land, and not just land, but good pastures to be able to sustain the herd throughout the year with little supplementation. Now let's go to the second section of the beef production industry in South Africa: feedlot or fattening. This is normally the second phase of the production line of beef. This is where farmers buy weaned cows from the cow-calf production industry, rear them intensively with the purpose of fattening them and making them ready for slaughtering. Intensive rearing of cattle means feeding the animals in a controlled environment where the animal do not graze naturally. They are fed highly concentrated commercial feeds to allow them to grow quickly for the market. This industry requires a lot of capital, but it requires less land to start. Feeding cattle intensively is very expensive, therefore one has to be prepared for that. And you have a market lined up to sell your fattened animals for slaughter in order to make your profits. One of the most known feedlots in Limpopo are the likes of Venco. They are one of the most successful feedlots operations around. The third phase of the beef production system in South Africa, or the third section, is known as stud farming. This one is less practiced in the industry, but it is just as important as the others. The purpose of stud farming is to produce the best quality genetics of a certain breed to improve the beef offspring in the industry. The farmers here purely focus on producing superior animals and selling them to cow-calf producers to improve their herd. This is important as it overall raises the standard of the beef industry and ensures that the best genes are passed through all the offspring that will carry the higher weights, which will mean more money for the cow-calf producers. The reason why this section is less populated is because it heavily depends on knowledge, capital, and time, which many of us don't have. Many of the well-known successful stud farmers are generational farmers, which the farms has been passed to them by their elders. That means they have 100 years of experience, credibility, and pedigree. But with research and capital, one can start slowly and surely grow their credibility by being registered with the Breeders Association to adopt some of the best practices. Now, as a prospect farmer, one needs to look at your individual factors to see what you have and what you don't have and make a decision based on that. Now, as a prospect farmer, one needs to look at your individual factors and see what you have and what you don't have and make a decision based on that. Having a small land but forcing to be a calf producer will lead you to failure and discouragement. as it requires a lot of learning. It's better to always start small with what you have and build from there. Also, we want to emphasize that information and knowledge is critical. Always be teachable, always learn, always research to know more. Do not think you know everything. Now, there are many subsections and opportunities in the beef industry value chain, but for the purpose of this video, we wanted to give the basic information to the beginners into the industry. If you want to know more about a certain topic in beef production, let us know in the comments or get in touch with us if you want to book a private consultation with us.